Welcome back, everybody. This is actually going to be a follow up on, or rather, an update on the WC challenge video that we had recorded yesterday. At the end of the video, we had to stop because the video was already over an hour long, and we were still trying to solve the problem where we wanted to use the enum instead of having hard coded strings into our match expression, and we were not able to solve it in time, and we were kind of we're not really sure what we wanted to do, and that's what I wanted to cover and get be done with. So this is really going to be a small video, hopefully, unless we encounter some issue. This is where we had left yesterday. Um, so if I minimize everything, I hope this is visible enough. Should be. Right. So if I minimize, we had created an enum called flags, and this was the structure we wanted to have. And we also did create an str. What we were trying to do is get a representation of these enums into which flag they represent, and then be able to use it in our parse flags function. This is what we were doing. We did have an implementation like this, which has hard coded values, something we didn't really like. So, this is what we wanted to fix. Unfortunately, when we tried, or we could not really solve the problem. And that's where we are as of now. When I started looking it further and did some research, not exactly research, but a few searches, I realized that there are few things that we're doing wrong. One is when we receive a flag on the as a command line argument, we get a string. So at line 86, what we were trying to do, or what we had in mind, was to convert a flag, an enum, into a string and then compare it with the string, which is in a way wrong. What we should be doing is that all the argument that we receive, we should try and create a flag from those strings instead, and which means we should be trying to convert this string args, which is our args, uh, into into enum, which will be a flag. This is what we should be doing. And once we have an enum, we will actually have a way better control of what we are trying to do. This also helps us in a with a scenario. Suppose our CLI was run with the following way: WC hyphen X hyphen R hyphen L hyphen C, and then the file file.txt. Now, in this case, hyphen X is not a flag, although this will be covered in these checks, which is fine. But what if we wanted to do a little more? If we want to cover more scenarios, build it a little robust. In such cases, I think it would make sense to try and convert each argument into a flag. And if it's not a flag, we raise an error and we let the user know that what you have provided as an argument, this particular argument is actually not a flag and we cannot use it. So that's what we should be doing. Now there is a pattern usually followed in Rust that I came across yesterday. That once you have a string, what you can do is you can try and build a flag or an enum from str is a common pattern, and then you pass in the string that you received, or which is basically your argument, and this will actually return a flag. Basically, it goes like this: create a flag from string. And this is exactly what we're going to use. So yesterday, what we started with is is creating a function which on the flag enum itself, which would take which was would return a string. And this is wrong. What we should be doing instead is to implement a function from str which should take in a string, say s, which is going to be a string slice. We did talk about string slice. These are immutable string references, and this is more of a view into the into a string that lives on memory. And this should return an option of flag. Why an option of flag? Now imagine uh, just providing one flag -x. In that case, that flag is invalid to our implementation or our tool, and that's when we should be returning none. So the flag should not parse. And instead of returning error as such, we could just say, we can't use it, we can't do anything about it. So the flag is not passed to anything, it's none. So we would do a match on if it's -c, we do a match on s. If it's -c, we return the flag bytes. If it's -w or -l, return lines. Likewise, we'll have one for words. And this is going to be m for characters, which is chars. If we get anything else or anything else, what we would do is simply return. Okay, so this is what you want to return is actually an option which should be wrapped in some. And other than that, whatever it is, we just want to return none. And that's it. So now in our, what it allows us to do in our, so once we are looping over the arguments, we get each argument and we do a match on these arguments. Instead of, let's do this. Let flag. I don't need to use it in here. We're going to straight away do this instead. Now flag has a function from str which would require a reference to arg. Okay, something. Oh, it returns an option of flag. So maybe let's do this. Let f, which is going to be flag from str, takes in an argument. Now this flag, there are two possibilities. This flag could be some flag or it could be none. Now we should want to definitely handle it in a better way. If this is actually if uh, if it is a flag, if it is some flag, if it's some f, I think, is this the right way to do this? Instead, maybe I should move this. I cannot find value flag. Okay. There is a syntax which is called the if let syntax, which should be, I think, which is what we should be using. So it says if let some if there is a flag, in that case, we should be, oops. Now, what this means is if there is some flag that can be passed or which we get from this from string function, assign that value, let that value be stored in f, and then we do something with f. Otherwise, if there could be an else case, and this else means the flag was not passed, or maybe it was something around, let's say it was hyphen x, which means it's not a flag, then maybe it's our file name. So what we want to do is we want to check if this is, if the if it's file name, and we can actually check it. So we'll revisit this in just a minute. Let me finish doing this. So it was flagged on, if it's bytes, what we wanted to do is we were setting the okay, we were setting these the values in the struct dot bytes equals some true. In fact, we don't really need to do it like this. It should be just true. And if I go, so the reason I'm saying it need not be an option is, yesterday I did mention that it's better to wrap it up in a option because it may or may not be there. But if it's not there, in case of Boolean specifically, if it's not there, the flag will be set to false, which works absolutely fine for us. So it need not be wrapped inside an option. If it's not there, which means it's a false value. The file name needs to be an option, because what if we just passing in options or flags but not providing the file name? In that case, this has to be an option of string. So this works, and this is going to be ops dot lines equals true. And that's it. So we don't need this case. We have already covered, whenever we're getting flags, we just simply return them, or set the command options very correctly. That's totally fine. And in this case, we don't really need this anymore. Don't need this either. Okay. We are still returning options. We'll do revisit this section now. Now we want to check if it's actually a file name, and the way we can do this is if arg is a string. If it We can check whether if it starts with the hyphen character. If it starts with hyphen, which means we know that it's a flag. But if we can invert check, if it does not start with hyphen, which means um, it's a file name. Dot dot file is going to be some arg. But if it's not the case, if it's not being set, if it's a flag, or if it's something else, it's not a file name either. In that case, we just want to tell the user, you are doing something wrong. Print ln, and let's just tell them invalid argument, and we just tell them what the argument is. And we also want to return none, because irrespective of what flags we had, since there is no file name, we just want to there is no valid file name, or yeah, there's no valid file name, we just return none. And it's as of now we are getting two errors. Let's fix them quickly. This function is looking way better now because we're checking on the enums, so fair and square there. We must be getting errors in read. Oh, read file, read from should be fine. Yes, options dot byte is not an option anymore, so we can exclude the unwrap. Likewise here, and we are good to go. Go down. Yes, we have the output exactly as we had yesterday. So this is what I wanted to cover in this small video. That the right way to pass flags is not trying to convert the enum into string, rather create a flag or an enum based on the input that you have, and then match on that enum, and that's the right pattern we should be following. All right, so that's it for now. You have the handles right below if you'd like to connect with me. Otherwise, stay tuned and do subscribe if you like the content, what we are doing here. I'll see you around in the next one. Thank you.